Today, starting in this environment, cannot afford to really not put thought into their branding, because in my sheet that I handed out to you, it seems like because of the short attention deficit, going on, people really don't read emails anymore. That there's kind of what I coined a tenderization of like brands. Like once you put your brand out in front of somebody, swipe yes or no, whether they're going to go deeper into, well, do they think this experience is going to be great? Is your product going to be great? And you, as they say, you really don't have a second chance to make a first impression. So it's important, I think, to really do that homework, and I think we're all in agreement with that. And I think one of the things with some of the, I've noticed myself with some of the tech startups is that because I think a lot of people who start these companies come from either a financial or tech-oriented background, they're thinking with logic. And so therefore, I see with some of their, earlier with some of the startups, with some of their hiring practices, that they didn't have any creative people at all. It was all tech. And the thing is, over and over again, people make decisions based on their emotions. They want a connection. Yes, you want the product features and attributes, but on top of that, you really kind of need something to really motivate yourself of how is this going to connect and add value to me. And that's where I think that some people from the tech community really kind of miss the point. And I think we're kind of, I think you really kind of succinctly really backed me up on that. Moving along, what are some companies that you feel that besides the two that you mentioned that are really doing branding really right from the get-go, that are coming out of the gate?
I was looking at another company because I was like, I just can't, as the only woman on the panel, I just can't come with example for women product only. I need an example for men product. And among men startup companies, I really like Dollar Shave Club. Yeah. You go on their website and you don't need to read their brand key. It's all right there in front of you. It's all about no frill, high quality at $1 a month. It's like you have best of both worlds, and they deliberately designed their website to be very kind of that caveman rough thing. You see the video of the CEO saying, "Hey, I'm Mike," and he was walking in what looked like a warehouse, and he was, showing tape here and there. Even when they talk about creating jobs, which can be totally take them into the realm of corporate social, the CSR stuff, they found a way to make it align with their brand personality and value. You saw Mike, the CEO, pushing this forklift thing where they have a new employee, and Mike asked that guy, "What did you do last month?" Bob, whatever the name of the guy is. Nothing, didn't do anything. "What did you do? What are you doing this month?" "Working." We create jobs, so even down to CSR, they do it in a way that talk to their no-frill value.
It's about building trust and credibility. I think one of the things you sent around, Trey, was we talked about trust that you try to build into your brand, but I've always equated that with credibility. Like, do you believe these guys? Do they have, in startups, a lot of times the brand starts with the CEO. It's the CEO and his partner and a couple of guys. And they say, "Well, you've heard about this company?" It's like, "Yeah, that's Bob. That's Bob. I talk to Bob all the time. Bob's the CEO. He packs the boxes. And that sort of becomes the cornerstone of the brand. Dollar Shave Club's a great example because he's, the CEO, whether it is true or not, but that's what they portray. Yeah, he's the designer. He's come up with the idea. Man, the guy even packs the boxes. I like this guy already. And I'm gonna buy from him. It's a value proposition, and he's succeeded in building that credibility that sort of enhances his brand. I've always equated those two, trust and credibility, when it comes to branding.
Well, if I could just jump on there real quick, because
I can see the wheels.
Something just occurred to me because I was thinking about a similar thing. There's another one, Harry's out now too, and I saw the video when it came out. It came out of nowhere on Facebook. But if you guys can remember, some of you are old enough, some of you aren't. Ginso knives.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So the story there, a million years ago, I sold advertising. One of my agencies is a place up in Rhode Island, on Route 2 in Rhode Island, and they were the guys who did it. And what they did is they went to a culinary wholesale fair. Now we would have like a Chef's Warehouse, but then you'd go to somewhere, and they bought these like ever sharp knives that they're using in all the kitchens and all the finest restaurants, by the way, where you go, unless it's up front with a sushi chef. And they bought these racks of them for cheap. And then they went to the Culinary Institute, and they hired a guy who was not Japanese, he was Chinese. And they got a costume, they brought him over. And do anyone remember what they cut? Everything, right? They cut a radiator hose and a shoe. So that was his shoe, that was the hose off his car. But they created this experience, right? Yes, it was DR ads and things like that. But they cooked up this whole cookie thing. And it worked for a little bit, but it is now obviously a punchline, right? And what's so interesting is that, let's say that the CEO is an actor, it doesn't matter, right? I mean, we're all going to say the A word here in a minute, authenticity, I think, at some point, but to me it doesn't matter. I don't believe in nonfiction anyways. So, but here they've done something similar, which they created a world in which this lives, and they've created characters in it. And listen, guys, those Dollar Shave, those are just wholesale razors. Okay, they took like a single blade or a double blade razor, which is probably better for your skin because the other one shaved too close, but in any case, they went and they got wholesale, just like if you went to the dollar market, they got ones, maybe they had them custom colored or they had them a piece of a different material here or there, but these are not miracle razors. These are just normal wholesale razors that they are just brand. That's their brand. Just like Ginso knives that they're selling back to you as something special and affordable. And it's, it's interesting in contrast to see how times have changed. Because probably 30 years ago that would have been a DR 1-800 late night ad.
Right.